Hi, and welcome back to Natasha's Journey. And I especially want to thank my new subscribers for joining my journey, and I do hope that you'll benefit from what is written and shown in these videos. Today I'm going to review some of the visions that I've received, some as long ago as 2 decades, that relate to events that are happening right now on our planet and in our lives. Today, many people are posting prophetic dreams and visions that follow the same event timeline as those that I've received. And I think that validates my visions, and my visions validate theirs. And the major events that I have visions about are asteroids, comets, rotation reversal, earthquakes, tsunamis, major topographical changes as well as climate changes reflected in the words I've received that deserts will turn lush green, and the other revelations. So first I'll show a few pictures showing Earth changes that cause the geophysical poles to move nearer to our existing equator and the consequential flooding due to the polar caps melting. Then I'll show an animation of the Earth's rotation changing from the direction it goes now to the opposite direction. So the sun then will rise in the west. And that, I think, is one of the most vivid visions that I've received. So here are the few new graphics and the animation, followed by my narration of the specific visions that I've received regarding coming Earth changes. This first slide shows how the Earth will tip, possibly. One alternative that's been suggested, and that shows the tipping of the, in this case, the Western Hemisphere, that changes where the equator is located. And the second slide is a world map showing the coastlines and the water levels that change the topography of all the continents. And then here is the here's the video that shows the rotation spin change from sunrise in the east to sunrise in the west. Okay, so let's start with the vision that I had on July 27th, 2001. And here are the words. Asteroid hits the Arctic. When the North Pole points toward the sun, it will melt the ice cap and cause earthquakes to lower California mountains. Only above 6,000 feet will escape. Tsunamis of great proportion will rumble across the Pacific. Water level rises. Deserts will turn to lush green, and earth will cleanse. Brotherhood will align with brotherhood as the borders disappear. End quote. It has been predicted that large asteroids are being perturbed out of the asteroid belt by the incoming Planet X and the Nemesis solar system. These events will melt the ice caps, causing worldwide coastal flooding, and that a pole shift will be caused by the magnetic core of the incoming brown dwarf sun pulling on the Earth's crust to change the topography, raising mountains and changing deserts to tropical areas. Earth cleansing refers to the many deaths that these catastrophic events will cause. As Earth changes destroy national boundaries, Men will be forced to work together to survive, as well as nations working together. The next vision was July 27th, 2001. I quote, "Change is coming. Be flexible and open-minded. Nothing will be as it seems. Negative will be positive. Love will be hate. Good will be bad. Be discerning and focused on love, not to be persuaded to believe the dichotomy." End quote. This warning is important to prepare for the coming cataclysms, while world governments and mass media withhold the truth about what they know is coming. It is essentially duality or polarity that is emphasized here. We must be wary of what appears and look beyond to find the truth. There is a facade of deception that we must muddle through to find the truth. The next vision was July 23rd, 2001. I quote, "When the next comet occurs, the time will be right. The earth will open up and secrets will unfold that will protect humanity when the rotation shift occurs." End quote. Some have predicted that a comet is on a direct path toward Earth. It may or may not be the red-tailed Planet X or its infrared brown dwarf sun. There are other asteroids that have been discovered that will be crossing Earth's orbit path in the next few years. Carlos Ferrada called Nibiru the comet planet, and the trailing iron oxide debris trail makes it appear as a comet. Those who know are keeping it a secret, but underground bunkers all over the U.S. and the world are ready for government and the elite. It is written in Revelation 6:15 and 16, I quote, "And the kings of the earth and the great men and the rich men and the chief captains and the mighty men and every bondman and every free man hid themselves in dens and in the rocks of mountains, and said to the mountains and rocks, Fall on us, hide us from the face of him that sitteth on the throne, and from the wrath of the Lamb." End quote. Nibiru is reported to be going to cause a geophysical pole shift that will cause days of darkness for half of the earth, and the sun will appear to stand still, and then for days the sun will rise in the west and set in the east before it returns to where it is now. This is predicted by many indigenous peoples, ancient texts, and revelations in the Christian Bible and in other religious texts also. The next vision was April 5th, 2002, and I quote, "Look to the west for the unknown. The obscure message will become clear. There is more than the moon and stars that will light up the night sky." The prophecy about the West, I'm not sure what that means. I've heard various comments about other prophecies regarding the West, coming from the West. But the second sentence may refer to the expected asteroid storm that has been predicted by many and prophesied in the Bible, and where it talks about stars falling from the sky. I quote Revelation 6:13 through 16 in the King James Version. Quote, "And the stars of heaven fell unto earth, even as a fig tree casteth her untimely figs when she is shaken of a mighty wind. And the heaven departed as a scroll when it is rolled together, and every mountain and island were moved out of their places." End quote. Then the next one came to me on April 5th, 2002 also. And it says, I quote, "The battle has just begun. enemies will masquerade as friends, but will be foes, end quote. I've heard those very words just in the last few days spoken about both Russia and North Korea, who are cozying up to us, but yet, maybe ready to stab us in the back. And so who is the real enemy of the U.S.? Is it ISIS, Russia, North Korea, or China? It has been feared that Russia can and will detonate an EMP or a nuclear bomb over the U.S. to disable its entire communication and infrastructure. And that will easily cause our entire population to be doomed. This next is a symbol of this arrow, and it says the caption, "Rockets and Arrows of Fire." Well, this image may represent the asteroids that are predicted to accompany Planet X, or those that are just predicted to cross Earth's path. Even now we are experiencing an increase in fireballs seen all over the world. July 14th, 2001, I quote, "Beware of the great tornado and do not be in its path. The pyramids of ancient Egypt will open, but the information will be but the key to unlock the knowledge of God's universe. Beware, the capstone is not there. Your roots go to the ancient civilizations of China and Native American Indians. Don't worry about the words. They are there to speak, and as your vibrations rise, so does the ability to see farther into the future." End quote. Well, tornadoes will be spawned when the earth changes begin. Winds of at least 500 miles per hour will whip the earth during the pole shift. The reference to the pyramids and the missing capstone has recently been explained when it was determined that within the Great Pyramid of Giza there is internal energy production. And I explained this in my recent video, Pyramids of Giza Revelations. And I'll link that below. August 10th, 2001. I quote, "Find the concentric circles of illuminated quartz with a black center of highly polished material where dematerialization and transportation to other dimensions occur, like a black hole. It is locked with a time code, plus its vibrations must be raised. When the next comet occurs, the time will be right. The earth will open up and the secrets will unfold that will protect humanity when the rotation shift occurs." I made a recent video just about CERN that I was inspired by the movie Rising Oceans that came out on Netflix a couple of weeks ago, and it talks about CERN being the protector, and I will link that video below. But when I had this vision in 2001, it didn't have any meaning to me. But when I heard about CERN, I realized that that was my vision. And I believe that CERN's goal is to create a wormhole to access other dimensions and parallel universes, and possibly protect us from cataclysm. CERN is a circular path where particles speed up and bombard each other, possibly creating a black hole, as this symbol, this diagram, shows. The last words of the vision, rotation shift occurs. That seems to refer to the incoming system, which is reported to cause the pole shift that will cause days of darkness and the sun to appear to stand still. For days, then after that, the sun will rise in the west and set in the east for days before it returns to where it is now. This has been predicted by many ancient texts including revelations in the Christian Bible. Some have predicted that a comet-like object may possibly already be in our inner solar system and is going to pass our orbital path in the years to come. Many people and governments know about this and are keeping it a secret, but underground bunkers all over the U.S. and the world are ready for governments and the elites to retreat to. Revelation 6:15 and 16 says this, I quote, "And the kings of the earth, and the great men, and the rich men, and the chief captains, and the mighty men, and every bondman and every free man hid themselves in the dens and in the rocks of the mountains, and said to the mountains and rocks, Fall on us, and hide us from the face of him that sitteth on the throne, and from the wrath of the Lamb." End quote. The next vision came on July 23, 2001. I quote, "My blind faith will serve as my beacon to light the path. I will not circle, but go directly to Source, or to God, for nourishment of the mind and body. Revelations will come to me that will delight both me and those whom I service." End quote. It is only through faith in God that we must believe the prophecies of the book of Revelations to guide us and direct us through the hell onto earth that is coming. My prayer is to be delivered from the evil that is sure to come, but we are promised God's protection by the words in the 23rd Psalm. I quote, "The Lord is my shepherd, I shall not want. He maketh me to lie down in green pastures. He leadeth me beside the still waters. He restoreth my soul, and he leadeth me in the paths of righteousness for his name's sake. Yea, though I walk through the valley of the shadow of death, I will fear no evil, for thou art with me. Thy rod and thy staff, they comfort me. Thou preparest a table before me in the presence of mine enemies. Thou anointest my head with oil. My cup runneth over. Surely goodness and mercy shall follow me all the days of my life, and I will dwell in the house of the Lord forever." End quote. And on July 27, 2001, I was given these words, quote, "I will teach others to hear the words and assign deeds to those who choose to listen to the trumpet sounds, gathering those of like minds to march to its cadence. Multitudes will gather and will feel their own vibrations rise to that of the crowd. There will be no deaf ears amongst us. When the time comes, all others will perish." End quote. This may refer to the biblical reference to the mark of the beast that may be the identification implants that are being introduced already. We all must march in rhythm and raise our own vibrations, and those who do not cooperate will die. December 2nd, 2001, quote, "A woman in a white flowing dress, barefoot, dances in the water of a stream. Slowly, a trickle of blood mingles and washes down the water. The stream becomes completely red with blood. The blood washes down the rocks of the stream from the surrounding mountains. Only through bloodshed will Mother Earth cleanse from the infection of death and destruction before the birth of the new dawn of peace." End quote. Well, Nibiru's debris tail is iron oxide, and when Earth passes that debris field, it will cause water to turn red, which may be described in this vision, but it also could be the bloodshed as sacrifice, as stated in Revelations, at the end times during the War of Armageddon, where hundreds of thousands will die. The hope of mankind is that we are promised 1,000 years of paradise on earth, called the millennium in the Bible. My vision calls it the new dawn of peace. And the final vision that I'll share with you here was dated July 23rd, 2001. I quote, "The light will spread and many will work in concert to accomplish the tasks at hand. Together we will play a symphony of sounds from many instruments, but the voices will sing in unison until the words can be heard everywhere. Then the time will be right, and I can dwell in the green pastures of paradise on earth." So this is my task, to share the words of Jesus that offers hope to mankind, that together our collective consciousness can hear the trumpet call to share God's promise of both eternal life and the coming 1,000 years of paradise on earth. Well, thank you for spending this time with me to hear what is in store for us here on earth in the coming days and weeks and years, and during those 7 years of tribulation that's coming. My next video will be a continuation of the topic of peace on earth. All of the words in my visions are collected in the book Journey to Fulfillment of Life's Purpose, a personal journal of spiritual awakening. You can email me if you would like a free electronic copy, and contact information is on the following slide. You can also visit my website with lots of my writing available to read there. That's www.arosblossom.com. Well, may God bless you and keep you safe. I am Natasha.